Hello and welcome to the Upland Daily Show, the show for buying and selling deals on Upland. I am your host, Earthshaker. Thank you for stopping by for another episode today. And today's a little bit of a slow news day, but tons of great information nonetheless. We've got how one user made $10,000. It's actually been done a bunch of times, but how you could repeat how this user made $10,000. Also, got an interview from our number one on the leaderboard, nVenom. So check that out. He drops the date for the CNN documentary on Upland, and he also talks about how Uplanders might make more money in the future. So definitely don't miss that at the end of the episode. I want to thank all my listeners and new subscribers for stopping by. You guys motivate me to put out the best content of any of the Upland shows. They're all great, but I think you guys motivate me to do the best for you. Thank you for smashing that subscribe button and the like button if this show brings you value. So let's get into the repeatable money-making strategy that people are using now. Making money right now in Upland is only reserved for a couple of players in beta, but even still, it is just tons of money being made on it. So let's look here at the property that the guy made $10,000 on, guy or lady. So we've got what, four $10,000 transactions. One of these was like a insanely high markup. That was the train station there. Ashman, bro, we covered that a couple days ago in the divorce scandal. But the one I want to look at today is 318 Spears Street on Rincon Hill. Let's just see where that is. It was Sandy Pants bought that from MXZ TPLK, and this is down kind of in the like near the shore here in San Francisco. And let's take a look at the actual property. I guess it's something called the Infinity here on Spear and Folsom. Let's see if we can get a street shot of it. There you go. Oh, it's a pretty cool building. But really, I don't know what's special about it, guys. I mean, maybe I'm just jaded here, but I don't know why it would be worth 10,000. Not like a huge iconic property from what I can tell, but it's right here on the shore. Anyway, I mean, this guy, let's see what he bought it for. MXZTPLK was the buyer. Properties. We can go to transactions. Let's see if we can find out how much he bought it for. Let's search for the property. So he bought it for 272,000 UPX, which it translates to about $270. Unless you build up from zero, they give you, when you start in Upland, if you don't know, they give you a certain amount of UpX depending on where you get your link from. I think it's anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000. You can also get bonuses if you use like referral links or something. But you can build that to 200. I have a tutorial on it we did yesterday about how to build your UpX. You could get this property for free and then turn around and sell for $10,000. This has happened 4 times already in the game, and a totally repeatable. There are 57 fiat transactions, meaning 57 people taking money out in United States dollars out of the game, and not everyone has that capability yet. So that number is going to skyrocket when that program gets expanded to everyone in Upland. Guys, I really think Upland is the biggest secret in the NFT space right now. I mean, you can get in here right now, have some properties, and if you buy in great locations, you're going to do really well. Even if you don't buy in fantastic locations. I had a property sell in a bad location, in my opinion, in Brooklyn yesterday, and doubled the amount of UpX for what I bought it for. So there's a lot of opportunity in this game, guys. Really excited for it. I hope you're getting properties and getting involved before things really take off in the CNN interview. I'll have the date later on here. All right, let's get into stats real quick, and then we can get into our nVenom interview. So for today, we've got 3,200 unminted properties. 2,800 of those are FSAs, and almost all that is in Oakland on the FSA side. 98,000 unlocked. There must have been some additional ones unlocked. Not sure where those are all, or sorry, additional ones locked. There must have been some other ones introduced in the game. Not sure where they came from. But there were 3,000 minted on the FSA side. It looks like in the past day, which is, oh, man, just think about it. That's a lot of properties. They're going quick. There's 594 non-FSA in Brooklyn, it looks like, and I think these are just ones that are turning over from visiting players, and 200 FSAs in Brooklyn. All right, guys, the floors have a story that they're telling today, basically over the whole week. Since we minted well, pretty much all the properties except for non-FSA properties, I've been curious of what floors we're going to do. And over the last week, they've been edging up about 20 to 30%. So for San Francisco, just over last night, we increased 4 to 5% on the floor. Fresno, 153%, which is up a couple percent. 140% in Oakland, up about 20%. UpX up a couple percent in Oakland. We covered the fiat split yesterday. That is closed. Manhattan, 130%, up 5% again. These numbers are steadily increasing, guys. Looks like you can get almost any property. And in this past week, you would have gone up, 20 to 30%. Brooklyn, 127%. That's up 2%. So the numbers are looking good for anyone who's getting involved and owns property. Largest minted UPX transaction, 160,000. There's just nothing on the market. That was one of the Oakland properties that was released in the collections yesterday, I believe. Largest secondary UPX transaction, 3 million. Healthy market, 7 transactions over 1 million in OPEX yesterday. That one was San Francisco near the Civic Center. Largest secondary fiat transaction, $2,000. That's a USD transaction where somebody made United States dollars off of a Upland property. Best kept secret. I'm telling you guys, this thing's going to blow up. Man, that was in Manhattan. 57 fiat transactions, like I mentioned, 57 opportunities to make money every day. That's not even expanded to the entire game. So when it does, things will get crazy, I think. All right, guys, let's send it over to the interview with Venom and myself and enjoy this one. He drops some good knowledge. And thanks, Venom, for coming on the show. Here we go. All right. Well, today we got nVenom on the show. He came on. He's currently number 1 on the Upland leaderboard in net worth, and honestly, relatively new to the game compared to some of the folks up there. I just want to ask you, starting off here. I mean, first, thanks for coming on, and second, how did you get there? How do you get where you're at now? Tell us the story.
Well, I mean, I kind of came in just like everybody else. I saw an ad on Facebook and just kind of, ignored it at first, but then I saw it again, so I jumped in. And part of that was I didn't really know what I was doing in the beginning. I had no idea. And so I went through that phase of like learning how to play and watching YouTube and kind of grasping for any information I could. But once I realized it, like, so in real life, I'm a businessman. I have a lot of different businesses that I'm part of. And so I understand that side of it. And I'm also involved in the technology side of things. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. So that being said, just kind of the metaverse kind of just fits with me,
Yeah.
And I started to see instantly correlations between real life opportunities and upland opportunities, and a way to connect those that I don't think there was a clear path yet. I mean, I know Upland's been trying to do it, but I also think it's part of our duty as players of the game to help make those connections as well. So that's kind of how I started, and how everything started to make sense, and how I justified, putting so much money into the game.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like my story. I can relate because I saw like a Brave ad, and I just really into cryptocurrency stuff and blockchain, and I think it's a huge technology, can do a lot, right? And I clicked the ad, and I was just cruising around, and next thing you know, it's like 8 hours later, I'm like still searching for properties, like great opportunities. and I
Yeah.
love like the real estate thing in real life. And I was like, man, this just like hits for me. Like for some reason, I'm just so into this like economics of the game right here. And the more I discovered like of it, and you're talking to that too, like there's probably going to be like a a economy around the game too, just with trying to help
Probably
users
there
and stuff.
is. It's
Yeah,
it's there is gonna be an economy around the game. That's the step that everybody's, and I'm sorry for cutting you off there, but that's the
oh, you're
step that
good.
everybody's looking forward to. That's the reason why we created the UDU, which is kind of like a cooperative group of players that are looking for business opportunities both inside the game and outside the game. And so it's an inclusive kind of group that we put together that really um, is more like a skill sharing
Yeah.
organization. Everybody kind of puts in their skills, and so yeah, it's great, and there's opportunities everywhere. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was actually going to ask you about UDU, so you answered my own question. But the one thing I do like about UDU is usually, you see these groups, you're like, oh man, these guys are going to team up against the common user or whatnot. And you guys seem to be really inclusive, welcoming, and participating with everybody else. I mean, because at the end of the day, right, like the game doesn't succeed unless everyone's getting something out of it, having fun. And speaking of business opportunities, like within the game and stuff, though, and you started, what is it? UD2 land is something you guys are starting?
UP2 land, so it's
UP2.
like up squared, the same
Gotcha.
kind of upland square foot.
Yeah.
Obviously upland, and then UP2's land, so it's like a play on that. Yeah,
Nice.
so we're actively developing property management tools for upland. We're also uh actively developing with familiar sites and names and stuff like that that are underneath my umbrella as of now. So
Awesome.
yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to go. I mean, speculation could be made, whatever, but we are
Sure.
we are actively developing, and I have full cooperation of with Upland, and Edon and Dirk, and those guys are
Awesome.
working with us to create a third party beta program, which will allow third-party developers a path forward to start developing apps with alongside Upland.
Man, that's so cool. And especially with your business background and your computer science background, it seems like you're kind of the perfect guy to head that on. So I'm really excited to see what turns out there. And
Yeah.
just based on all your insight, real quick, like this episode's going to be all about like how people can make actual like fiat money
Yep.
in Upland. And right now you can fiat out on your properties, but like what do you see maybe in the future? I mean, obviously it's all speculation at this point, but like will there be further opportunities in the future to make money within Upland?
Yeah. So I think the answer to that is NFT, NFT, NFT. Right.
Yeah.
There, the way Upland's kind of designed, as everybody knows, is that the properties are NFTs. But I think that the developers of Upland understand that the NFT market is more than just buying and selling properties on Upland. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to implement ways for us to bring NFTs inside the game and also take NFTs out, which anybody with a business sense that's working in this market, I don't care what, platform you're using or what, currency you're using to buy and sell NFTs, can see the possibilities. Like say, if you develop your house or your business, which is even a better idea, you develop your business and you can go inside and then maybe you can buy an NFT that's related to that business or related to that person who owns the business. If we use the landmarks as an example, those are high traffic buildings, which I'm sure people will want to go inside and take a look around. And
Yeah.
business in there might be an interesting idea. So I think that the NFT side of things is going to be a huge way for people to get money out of the game. Another thing is kind of like the same thing I was talking to before about the way that UDU kind of looks at it is we're not waiting for that. Like I'm not going to sit there and wait for them to say, okay, here you can have some, fiat out, or no, I'm going to start making opportunities. I'm going to create opportunities for players, all Uplanders, not just myself or you, to
Awesome.
find ways to get money, make money and return on their investments, both inside and outside of the game. And I'm working actively daily to get that done.
That's fantastic, man. That's it's like the gap between NFTs and real life is just closing every day. It
Yeah.
seems. Um
if you think about it, eventually this virtual platform for doing business is going to be a stepping stone forward for the way that we will all do business in the future. And the reason why it's so important is because it's decentralized and it's worldwide, right? So I'm doing business with people in Australia, Dubai, all over the place, and it's not bound by what you know
But
time zones, country
geographic.
line, yeah, geographical
Yeah.
locations, none of that. So that opens up a huge market, not only for the skill sets of people coming in, but for the output of product coming out. I mean, Upland is this weird place, especially in Discord, where you just have this group of like extremely smart people that are doing things that I can't even believe in some cases. Just the art
Yeah.
and the level of sophistication of the business plans and ideas and things. I mean, we're doing a charity for St. Jude. That's we're still working on. I'm working with Sturs Merlin and Upland on this, and you know, St. Jude wants to be a part. They want NFTs. They want to get onto the metaverse, which is kind of cool to me. I think that that's the whole. I mean, for us, that's a way for us to take what we have in Upland, in our metaverse, and give back to the real world. So, if you have that wife or that friend or that partner that's going, "Hey, man, why are you buying these digital, magical properties? They don't mean anything." They say, "Well, this is what they mean. We're making something in this metaverse and helping people, and that's a good, things like that, both with charity and with real business, I think will help us move forward."
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a huge amount of potential, and like you said, there's tons of people in the upland community who are starting projects and doing new things. And I know sometimes people are like, "Oh, well, I kind of have a similar idea," but I think there's like a ton of space, even in upland, to do different projects and be successful. Because I mean, like you said, the audience is it's kind of like taking it's similar to kind of how like the web opened up opportunities for tons of people, but for whatever reason, I don't know if I can quantify it, but like this is opening up opportunities for even additional people. Like the audience is getting like much bigger,
Well,
right?
let me quantify it for you and make it make sense. In my view, Bitcoin hit, right, and everybody started to get on the Bitcoin, and then you got things like Ethereum and Dogecoin and all this other stuff where these types of things that are getting into the mainstream. But what is the common denominator, right? Blockchain.
Yeah.
So people are starting to see what blockchain technology can actually do, be it NFTs, be it smart contracts, be it cryptocurrency, be it inventory control, which is another huge thing that they use blockchain for that's not really well known to the community. But anyways, all that being said, you are correct by saying this is like the internet, or this is like email, or this is like something is that revolutionary. Not maybe per se Upland itself or NFTs themselves, but blockchain as a whole has not been realized. The power of blockchain has not been realized, and everybody's life eventually, and we're talking within the next year or two, in my opinion, is going to be affected by blockchain positively in some way. So that's a huge deal. And so really the group of people that are in Upland now are pioneers. We're on the forefront of this technology. The people who are in on Atomic Hub using wax and staking NFTs and doing all this new type of ways to mine and make money are really pioneers in the space. And so I was around in the early days of Bitcoin, right? And I can tell you from experience that this whole setup feels extremely similar to the early days of Bitcoin when guys were selling Bitcoins for $200-300 a piece, right? So you know, I if somebody was to come and say, "Hey, why did you drop this money?" I mean, that's a drop in the bucket compared to whatever. I got out cheap on those landmarks. I mean, I really did. The honest answer is
Yeah.
I got out cheap on those, and I think the value of those will be realized once the blockchain starts to become more commonplace. And every single day that's happened, literally every single day, you're hearing more about NFTs, more about blockchain. One thing that I did is when I got the Rockefeller Center, they put me in an interview with CNN, and the lady's name was
Wow.
Lori Siegel, and we did about a 20-minute interview, which I'm going to break right now, that I think airs on May 23rd. So you guys can watch
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, CNN Money. It airs on May 23rd, and but in that interview, we talked about a lot of the same things, and somebody like me being able to explain it the way I can, and I'm sure everybody in the community has heard me speak about something by now. Um, I think is going to bring a lot of interested people over to, Upland and to the NFT space. That's a huge deal for us. I mean, I'm saying, if that's happened on May 23rd, I would say, near the end of May, everybody prepare for the flood. People are, even just people that are interested. I mean, that's CNN money. That's big news. I mean, there's a lot of people with money that watch that show, and I cannot see how they cannot paint anything I said in a positive light. So I'm just excited to see the influx of people, and that's the way a guy like me, normal guy, playing the games like everybody else. You can talk to me in general. You can send me a DM, right? But
Yeah.
that's the way a guy like me can influence the game positively. And let's imagine if I'm an inspiration to somebody, one person, one guy out there, and he starts emulating my energy, and he starts going out there and saying, hey, and Venom's got an idea. He said, let's do business inside out. Let's talk to everybody about this and get positive energy. And we replicate me 50,000 times or whatever it is. 77.7 thousand times is how many users are actively using their wallets on DApp Radar in a 30-day period. If we did that, imagine the size and scope of what we're trying to do. So when I do these interviews and when I talk to people, I almost maybe sound like a broken record, but it's because I want other people to be inspired by what I'm saying, use that as a blueprint to push their ideas and their businesses forward. And like you alluded to earlier, there's enough uh, uh, opportunity in the metaverse for all of us. Literally, there's more than enough, especially for this. This is a small sector of what is actually going to be, in my mind, in a year or two. I mean, I think we're going to grow exponentially and, to the moon, guys. I mean, honestly.
I totally agree. And the CNN interview, like that's huge. And you're going to get, I mean, what always happens when you have new technology come out, people, you always got the people who are like, like, oh, like, that's awful. There's all these things wrong about it. I don't want to adopt it for whatever reason, right? Very protectionist. But even if you get 1% of that audience, even like 1%, or even like 0.5% of the audience that day to log in and join Upland, like we're just talking like exponential like change in the number of people using the platform. So I mean, you don't even need to have like a bunch of people get into it, right? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to think about it. So I just came off of a $40,000 auction win when I walked into the meeting. Like literally, I came off of a $40,000 auction win. I got a DM from Idon and said, "Hey, can you jump into this Zoom?" I said, "Give me 2 minutes." You know what I mean? Got all pretty and everything because I knew that was what was coming. I plugged in, and so if somebody's seeing that and they say, hey, this guy over here just spent 40 grand, I could go over here and drop a couple $100. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not, I mean, if there's people spending 40 grand, I could drop, $1,000 and not,
Sure.
you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm putting $1,000 in this thing that nobody's making money on. You know what I mean? You're going to have a little bit of confidence that somebody's out there and they're willing to spend that kind of money in the game. So that little, mind, Jedi mind trick, I think is going to be important. And I think that there's going to be a significant positive influx of people. Now, can Upland handle it? Can their servers handle it? Are they prepared for that positive influx? Now, that's a whole nother question. We don't know.
Sure.
I don't think currently they are. One thing about the stress test that happened the other day, I think everybody jumped the gun. It's a stress test. It's like, hey, look, we're going to do something. We're going to try to screw up the system. Like, let's stress it out. And everybody freaked out when it got stressed out. It's like, okay, well, if they said this is not a stress test, let's move forward, and it happened. Yeah, let's all freak out. But they did that to make a benchmark.
It was a test. The only way you can fail a stress test is if you don't learn anything from it.
Well, you don't get stressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or if there's no stress on the server. Yeah. I guess that's another way. But
well, that's a perspective thing. I just think that people should, in my opinion, I think people should give them the benefit of the doubt. I know that there's been a lot of talk in the upper circles of people at Upland on player feedback and response to players. I've even told some big names, and I'll let them remain nameless, straight to their face, hey guys, you need to start talking to the players and giving them answers, whether or not it's an answer they want to hear. You need to start giving answers and giving them fast, because ultimately we're all owners here, not just the devs at Upland. We all own a piece of Upland.
So that's a great point. And I think you guys represent that, yourself included, and the UDU. And that's one reason why I really like the UDU and what you and your group is, the group is doing. So Hey man, that was a fantastic interview. I really appreciate you jumping on. And usually I'm a shorter format, but we dropped, got into so much good stuff here. Economics of blockchain, man. I feel like I could talk to you all day about it, but maybe
I,
someday I'll make it to LA after the Rona here.
you
But
guys can come down anytime and see me. We're here at the corporate office in Orange County. But yeah, I told you before the interview I talk too much. So yeah, sometimes I just ramble on.
no worries, man. But thanks for coming on. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys want to check out other interviews, he's nVenom's like all over on all the other media stuff on Upland. So check it out, and definitely check out his interview on CNN. When was that?
May 23rd.
May
Gonna come out.
23rd. Dropping it here. Thanks, man.
Yep.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for dropping in today. I appreciate you listening. I'll be back on Monday, and have a great weekend. And smash that like and subscribe button if this show provided value to you. Take care.
Upland Real Estate Digest is an entertainment service. All views are for entertainment purposes only and not to be construed as financial advice. Upland Real Estate Digest is not affiliated with Upland.